the flag once. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and thank you, everyone. First order of business is approval of the February 6th business session minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, approval of the bills list.
Move to pay the bills.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, public comments.
One at a time.
Then committee reports. Admin and finance, we did have a payment on the design issue around the rebid. That was about $150,000. So there's down to 403 in that particular account. Otherwise, everything's been pretty stable. Not where we run every month. Get a little more discussion here in a few minutes on the finances in general. Next up, public health and safety. I think you got the report. Does everybody have the same report from the
Yes.
chief? Kind of see how we're looking there. Looks like the summonses are up quite a bit. Calls for service are about the same as prior month. Reports are up a bit. Arrests are about 50%. And state filings are up 50%. Small numbers, but percentage move. Looks like they're staying busy. Park board. Do you want to discuss, not to put you on, but do you want to discuss that thing that you asked about last time with regard to?
Sure.
Let's stand up.
Or speak up. No, I can't hear. So
As park board president, you don't have to stand up here and give your name and address. We know who you are.
Thank you. So, Park Board had found out that the city was needing a new mower, and we also know that the city, in past years, has been short on people, and the Park Board needs help with mowing, and I know the city funding is not what you want it to be. We need to talk over as a board. I have talked to a few members, but it may be a possibility that we could possibly purchase a mower and also, in return, have the park mowed. That's just something to think about. I think it would help both sides because we're not supposed to spend our capital funds on the labor, but we do have capital funds for the equipment, and it would be used in the park. So.
And I just kind of noodled it out a little bit based on that mower. If they were to reimburse us for the mower that we commissioned last period, or last meeting, over the course of about 5 years, I was assuming $20 an hour, and mowing it from April to September, it would make, the labor would be about what the cost of the mower is. So it, that's just assuming a once a week mow, but so it seemed feasible, and they could just reimburse the general fund for it. Just something to think about. It's not a decision right now that's got to be made. I think you've got to take it before your full board.
Yeah.
So our maintenance would do the mowing.
Yes.
And we looked into having, I know we've had some requests from various neighbors wanting to tackle it. We can also look at that at the same time and see what happens.
Yeah, I was not aware that our neighbors want to do it.
Teresa's husband was one.
Who was?
Teresa's husband was one.
Oh,
He wasn't wanting to do it just for free though.
No.
Yeah,
Who does?
exactly.
We can sure look at both.
yeah, so
All
see if we get anything on.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we went over that last year, and, I think the offer was gonna be higher than what we were going to pay out in labor. And the other reason I think it's gonna be a win-win situation in a way, but also I think that Public Works has a good team now and enough people that it would be feasible than like it was before. But something to think about.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
talk.
think about it, see what he's doing in his spare time.
Yeah, we got plenty of that.
But I'll talk with the park
Sure.
board more. I just wanted to kind of get it, the word to you guys to see how you feel about that. But I thought it would fix two things at once, maybe.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to share? Thank you. Next up, planning and zoning, I don't know. I'm not aware of anything. Public works, you probably had some works over the last couple weeks.
Oh, yeah, just kind of an update, I don't have anything really pressing to discuss right at the moment.
Have you guys had a chance to call or check on that Bobcat that I sent you all?
We've been watching it, it is progressively going up, it sells March 4th. Of course, it would be one of those deals, we'd have to have approval from you guys first on an X amount of dollars to spend on that before we try to place a bid on it. At that point in time, usually those bids, like at the last minute, it really starts racking up, so I'm not real certain. I did talk with the guy that come and looked at our machine. He is trying to get some information over to me on maybe possibly doing like a trade-in value for it, for one that he has. It is a used machine, it's like a 21 or 20. It's got like 1,000 hours on it with the new motor.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
And he's willing to try and work some numbers that way to see if we couldn't get something worked out that way. So that's kind of the update on that point.
And I know with the streets and the water line or the fire hydrant, that there's been a lot of demand on your time. I didn't know if we could call that place down in Oklahoma and just see if they would tell us anything more, is all their, it said that the fuel gauge didn't work. If that's all
Right.
not working, then that's one thing. Well, the fuel gauge didn't work because it's just a paperweight.
Right. Yeah, I know the video on there, I don't know if you watched the video on it or not. It seemed like a solid machine, it looks clean. It obviously functions and it moves, which is by far more than what we have. So, it doesn't look like a bad deal. It's just that's the hard part about the bidding part of it, it's like, all right, what do we want to set our number at that we want to spend?
It's not like eBay where we can just buy it now.
Right. So it's like we gotta come up with a number that we're willing to let go and then run the bid up to that. Hopefully we get it under that, obviously you can put a max bid in at, say, $20,000 and it'll automatically keep bidding us in until we reach our max number, then it stops, so it's kind of one of those deals, what we wanna do, but I think, as of yesterday when I checked, it was like 26,000 or 27,000, so it still has about a week or so to go, but I'm imagining it's gonna really start ramping up shortly. That's a good sized machine, and I think somebody's really gonna want it, so.
And on the one that you were talking about locally, do you have a feel for what the delta on that would be after the trade, what the price, what they're looking at?
So the trade-in we was given before, was right at like 10. So I don't know what they're gonna come in at, because, they diagnosed it, or tried to diagnose it. So apparently with that machine, it has shorted out an electrical area. So there's issues with it. It will start and then it won't start. And then the whole reason why it's trying to bog down, they're not certain on, they were wanting to tear it apart at their shop and like start tracing and pinning everything and running all the little wires down. There's multiple control boards in there that run certain things, and obviously something is shorting out and grounding out. So at that point in time, is it worth putting the money into it just to get it to run and then have another list of problems to continue fixing? So it was kind of one of those deals. I just was like, just try and give me your best trade-in value for it, and we'll address it from there once we get those numbers. So. kind of where we're at on that.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask Kyle, it's all right about our supply of sand, salt, our
So
beet juice or whatever it is that you.
beet juice we're good on. We didn't put it down before this storm because they were talking about a bunch of rain and just crazy stuff going on, so we just stuck with salt. That way if it did rain, it'll activate it, and with people driving around, it's gonna crush it in a little bit better. I feel as if that works better than the beet juice in that scenario. Our salt, we're doing okay on. I mean, we probably got another storm or
But they say we won't get much more of it. We will probably have some in March, is what I heard in
Yeah.
general by forecasting.
We're wanting to get rid of everything we have and switch to the purple because it's like a lower temperature and it's got some other stuff mixed in with it. It actually works better. It's what MoDOT uses rather than what we have now. So we're just trying to get all the old out and get it cleaned
Sure.
out. And once we get the purple stuff, we want to address the face of the building because it faces north, so everything just blows in there and then it gets moisture and it hardens up and stuff, it clumps up. So we're going to try to put a tarp or
Hopefully it's not
canvas
as
over
corrosive
the
on
front
the
of
bed
it.
of the truck.
So it's like, you know, we're doing okay. It's not like we're gonna get in a real bad bind.
I know you'll keep an eye
So,
on it.
yeah, we try to stay on top of that and make sure that we have at least enough to get us through one storm. Once we get to the point where it's questionable, I will be ordering more, but I'd rather have all that out of there completely so we can start over fresh with the other material and we're not mixing and matching, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at in that situation.
Any other questions?
Oh, so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Echo Ridge, the pump, they just sent a quote over, on the 17th, it was my fault, I didn't check the email, it's been a little busy, for our pump that we were talking about, how Alliance Pump wanted like $9,000 for it to get it rebuilt. FTC checked it over, done everything, and for them to fix the pump and everything that's wrong with it, it's only gonna be $31.38. So there was a significant difference in pricing. We're actually saving a lot. So that was a good sign. And then you guys approved the contract last time for the guy to come down for the UV building to teach us, run through everything. Upon a little further investigation, the gentleman that we have right now that's part-time running the plant, he's familiar with that system and he is more than willing to show us and help us set it up, run through the program and everything like that. So therefore, we won't have to send that contract in to have that done. This gentleman knows it and can teach us. It's kind of in our back pocket. We pay him by the hour.
Is that a bomb? Is that?
So therefore, I think that's also another key thing to help save on money as well, that we can use elsewhere on other items.
How much was that contract?
10,000.
10,000?
Yeah, so that was a pretty good little
That's nice.
find there.
Something money saved.
That was a good thing switching to FTC as well, I think, so. I'm imagining it's probably gonna be like another $500 or $600 for FTC, if I had to guess, for them to come out and put it back in and whatnot. But, for the pump itself, what we was looking at, 9,000 is now 31, 38, 27.
Say we spent 35 versus 9,000, so.
Right, even if we were to spend 4,000, you know, it's still,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
$5,000.
Less than half.
That's a huge difference, so, just, switching
The
companies.
more we can bid on that Bobcat,
That's right.
So that's kind of where we're at on that stuff. The water leak information, I'm sure you guys know about the water leak, or at least heard about it. It was hit.
the hydrant.
Yeah, the hydrant was hit. Everything was done in-house. We didn't have to outsource it. We did have two people volunteer to help that I worked with at Independence Water. They were willing to come in and help that way. Because we worked all night trying to get it shut down and we were just having too much water, valving issue on finding the valves. So the two gentlemen come in after our crew left. I stuck around, helped them, we got it done. So it's back up and going, obviously.
That does make me think of a question. I didn't know, have we heard, I don't know how the pressure or what have you look, I mean, my pressure seems to be okay, but it's like I'm constantly finding air in the line.
You're gonna get that for a while, unfortunately.
Okay.
it goes up a hill, it falls back down, and it goes back up a hill, and trying to get all that air out, it's gonna be, you're gonna have that for a little bit, unfortunately.
And that's fine as long as it's to be expected, I just didn't know.
Yeah, it's.
Just let it run for a while.
Yeah.
You're running off
Cloudy
the
and
forge
ditch, then-
line from down here all the way up that way, that's ridiculous, but, it's pretty small, and that's to be expected, unfortunately. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
No, it's fine as long as.
It took 4 hours to get water up there, I mean, that was the biggest pain, I mean, it took about an hour to actually do the repair. It was just, getting it filled back, which is such a headache, but it was all done in-house, so that was a good time, I mean, that's a huge start.
Does any of that line need replaceable?
Does any?
Because when you were trying to, my understanding from Joe was every time you tried to repair it, it would break farther down the line.
Right, we cut back far enough and just put a plug on it, and it's done, it's capped off,
Okay.
there's no hydrant there now. Eventually, over time, we will replace a hydrant, or if we get the funding, when they come through to do that, it will be in the works, it's in the zone to be replaced. They'll just redo that.
Do we have any kind of log, you were showing like on the one in front of my house, there's that shut off right next to it, you're saying in this case there was not one. Do we know how many of the plugs in town have?
We don't, so that was part of the planning. I kind of got in action on sending one guy out for like a week, just going to every hydrant, and I want him to find, does it have a valve, does it not have a shut off valve? And then if so, I want to get them all marked and exposed, and then I want to reach out and rent a vac trailer so we can hydro excavate and clean out the valve. So if the valve box is offset, we can't get on it, it does us no good. Rather than digging the whole yard up or a big section, you can just hydro excavate around it, reset the valve box, and then backfill and make sure you can get on all the valves, or suck them out and clean them out, and make sure everything's getting exercised, along with the ones that are out in the roadways that we have to dig up or expose. We can do the same thing, chisel them out, pull the caps, inspect them from there.
Yes, sir.
One more question in regard to the accident that took out the fire hydrant. Have we filed a claim or anything yet?
Yeah, I'm waiting to get all the information. I got the hours for the guys working, and I'm waiting for the material cost. And then,
Okay.
I got the insurance, I got all the information, I got the police report, so.
Well, give it to your secretary and we'll get on top of that. Thank you.
You and I were talking about how we have to shut off the water like half the city when something like this happens. Is it time for us to start putting a plan in place to see if we can start putting shut-off valves in places so we don't have to do that anymore?
I think, and I'll defer, but I think that was part of the big plan, and again, lots of ifs, lots of maybes, but if this thing goes forward with the Jackson County, that would be designed into it, so I'd like to, at the very least, have it to where the city's in quadrants, that, maybe it's northeast of DB and 24 or northwest, whichever, so that, or at least have something north of the tracks or south of the tracks or something, just so that, yeah, you don't have to take the whole town down when you're in something like this. So,
And that's part of that master plan we got into Jackson County. It's gonna include all new valves. Every intersection is gonna have at least 3, 4 valves, so you can shut down
Yeah,
blocks
you can
instead of
do it.
areas, you can shut down a block.
Have you heard any more from Manny since that last contact?
Yeah, I actually heard from him today. He liked to email, and he told me to give it time, see if Frank Wright contacts me. If not, he said he'd push it into his way. Him and Sean Smith will both put it into his way. So he wanted me to give Frank Wright the opportunity first.
Sure. I think we'll know how that'll end, but okay.
But he's still backing us, so.
Yeah, well, good.
And I did have one person contact me, I'm sorry, Madam Park Board President. Have we heard from the insurance on the old Polaris, the wrecked Polaris? Are they gonna let us keep that and sell it, or did they want us to turn it back into them, or?
I haven't heard.
I hadn't heard from nothing.
They'll contact Joe.
Okay.
I can find out. I'll call him.
Okay. Got a fellow that's asked me a couple times, is that I really check on this about once every 2 weeks, so I don't know.
It's pretty much scrap metal at this point, right?
I think the motor on it is
buy it.
probably-
Yeah.
I think the engine may be fine, but the rest of it is
It
trash.
got wrecked pretty good.
Yeah. It'll have some good parts on it, not a lot.
One tire and a steering wheel.
Fairs and festivals, I don't see anyone.
Nope.
New business, find the sheet so I can read it right. Bill number 25-01, ordinance number 1096, an ordinance to amend the personnel manual for all employees of the city of Buckner, Missouri. That is, we had an individual who was out of time off, and I wanted to know if colleagues could donate their time to this individual, and our current policy manual did not contemplate that. This would allow, say Joe has got 10 hours that he would be willing to donate to Kyle. We would donate, basically, it'd be a comparable dollar value, so, because if Joe's making $100 an hour and Kyle's only making 10, we don't want to just give, from an accrual standpoint, it makes it net to the city. It's really not bad if Joe donates to Kyle, because we're getting rid of those high dollar hours. But if Kyle donates to Joe, then the gradient goes the wrong way. So it was just looking at allowing the individuals to move that, and it would be a journal entry that they'd make on the accruals for each individual.
Yeah.
So that's what we were asking, and if that's acceptable, it'd take a motion to suspend the rule.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next up, bill number 2501, ordinance number 1096, an ordinance to amend the personnel manual for all employees of the city of Buckner, Missouri.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Frye.
Aye.
Alderman Ross.
Aye.
Alderman Lewis.
Aye.
Sounds like it's fixed. Discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the Buckner Chamber of Commerce sign request. I think we have.
Hello. We're wanting to put a sign up right over on the corner here at the railroad tracks of Washington, BB. Be 8 foot wide, 12 foot tall, approximately 6 foot off the ground. We'll check those elevations per the location. And I'd like permission for us to put a sign there. It'll have the top section of it. We'll have all the downtown businesses. The lower section will be all the businesses around town otherwise. I'll let you look at it real quick, but it's, this is gonna be downtown businesses. This will be sure to visit all of our other businesses.
So right here where the blinking red light is?
No, it'll be right here at Washington and BB at Buckner Tarsney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where you come over the railroad tracks.
Right.
You'll come over the tracks, you'll have good visibility of it there. It'll be a two-sided sign set up on a V, and you'll be able to see it coming from the other way also.
Will it be on the west side of the street?
Yes, yep. Right there in the body shop's field, they've given us permission to put it there. But the top half, this will be all downtown businesses. This will be visit our other businesses in town. And we're thinking something like this. It's the Buckner 150, so happy anniversary Buckner 150. That's kind of the,
Is that gonna be, you say it'll be 8 feet, 12 feet tall, is that?
yes, yep.
And is that solid all the way to the ground?
No, it's gonna be raised up to where the kids can't get to it, and it's up off the ground. One, you wanna be able to see under it, but the setback's gonna be far enough that it's not gonna impede
Okay.
sight at
That
the
was my
stop
only
sign.
concern with somebody up here on Washington
Yeah.
turning left.
No.
Yeah, right.
And before we would do anything with putting it in the ground, Joe and I would look at it, and we'd be sure, one, the setbacks will be correct per code.
Yeah.
But even with that being said, at that location, we're still gonna visualize it, and be sure we're not gonna impede any vision, you know?
Do we have to get state?
ODOT.
That'd be,
That would be county.
yeah,
And I think if we come back far enough, we don't have to, but that's something that we can find out.
we could ask.
We'll find out
county.
for sure.
Make sure, because I don't like state.
Yeah.
200 feet off the road.
Correct. Yeah. I don't think that we have that in county, and the reason I say that is that Buckner, Tarsney, and Major Road, a guy that I know just got through putting in a huge billboard there, you know what I'm talking about? And he was able to do that. And so, I was really surprised that they allowed that, because it's a big sign. But what we was wanting was the permission to do that. The chamber is paying for all the infrastructure, and then each business will be the one paying for the signage itself. And the way that I'm setting it up is, for the businesses to be in it year after year, we're gonna go back and say, hey, it's $60 a year per business, or whatever the cost needs to be, because I want this sign to be updated every year, because it is gonna be a vinyl decal. I want it to look nice. Whenever it quits looking nice, it needs to come down. As long as the businesses stay in it, and we do that every year, we can have a good looking sign there, you know, so that's my plans on it.
That vinyl will be exposed to the weather then, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't have like a plexiglass cover?
No,
over
it's
top?
UV rated vinyl. It's just like you wrap a car with, or any vinyl sign you see out there. So it's UV rated, and it's typically good 5 to 7 years, but I want to update it yearly. So one, we can change the facade a little bit. We can change the look, make people see it, and again, keep it in good condition.
So the people who have the business, they don't get their name on there until they pay their fee for putting it up.
Yep. What my hopes are is to have all of this taken care of by the end of March, where the sign can be up 1st of April. Then next year, we go back and we say, hey, this is what we're doing. Are you still in? You still want to be on the sign? We can update it, and then we can put the new decals on in April whenever the weather's getting a little better and possible to do.
Do we have any local ordinances that restrict or limit size or location or anything that we need to make sure we're not stepping on?
Yeah, we'll look at it on the planning and zoning and make sure there's no ordinance that does not allow that.
Okay.
But, yeah, the main thing is the setback. That's like with anything we have is the setback, so. Yep,
That was my major issue, is making sure the folks, the line of sight is not
Yeah.
impeded for the folks coming up Washington to turn one way or the other.
right. Yep,
How big's that drop off from the street down into,
it's about a little over 5 foot coming down, you know, that's the reason we're gonna set it up. And
I was gonna say, do you need to go higher with that then?
we'll look at it whenever we're setting up to determine how high we're gonna put it, but.
So, do we need to vote anything on that? Is there a motion to approve the erection of the sign at Washington and DB?
So moved.
Subject to review.
Subject to approval by
All
P&Z.
criteria that makes it legal. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Chapter 420 in the ordinances is about signs. Definitions, permits, exemptions, material. What signs are prohibited, non-conforming signs, signs in residential districts.
I think that's the edge of the east edge of our business district.
Signs on property, commercial C1, C2, C3 zoning districts, standards for signs. So I think it's probably in here somewhere.
Yeah, because I think it's a C3 over there.
I don't know if that'll be C3 there or not.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been vacant property. That was city-owned property up until a few years ago, so it was never zoned, I would say.
Okay.
So we'll check
Yeah,
that.
because I was thinking with the body shop there, I was thinking that it had to be at least C2.
Yeah, that was a residence next to it. You know, the house used to sit there. That little triangle, that belonged to the city. That was city property up until 5 years ago.
Discussing consideration of possible action regarding the semi-annual finance report. What I'd like to do is, Joe, if we can get our new accounting folks lined out, just, I mean, I've seen this report, but it's not one that I work with every day, so I don't want to misrepresent. Overall, it looks like we're, based on what I've taken away from this, it looks like the Fund 10, we've realized 32% of our revenue and spent 28% of the, realized 28% of the expense, and the year's 41% of the way done. So we'd be on the right side of the number. When you look at streets, and I can only speculate that this is looking better because there was a roll forward in there, but you see we've spent almost 28% of our we've seen 28% of our revenue, but we've spent darn near half of our money, budgeted money, 47%. But it's showing that there's $40,000, according to budget, and the bank is showing we got 60,000 sitting there right now in actual cash. So it made me feel a little better if they could go out here and kind of just walk us through and make sure I'm interpreting this appropriately. Kind of the same thing on the park board, it's showing that they realized 64% of their revenue, and that seems odd because it's about $12,000 a month, and if we're 40% of the way through the year, why they wouldn't be 40%? It's just interesting because it's like the reciprocal of where we're at in the year. So just make sure I'm reading this right. I don't want to get folks excited. I don't want to get folks unduly complacent because I was painting a shinier picture than what it really is. But overall, I mean, I feel like we're better than we were 5 years ago. We could probably be better, but I mean, nobody wants more taxes, and so short of a revenue, finding some kind of revenue enhancement, I don't know that we're gonna find anything there. So that is that.
Have you looked at the year over year on the courts, just out of curiosity, because I mean, we're halfway through their budget already.
I was gonna say, I've only in as much as that I've looked at I follow the bank statement on it, but I don't, the P&L, I have not seen, and that'd be another one for them. The last time I saw where I could kind of correlate those, it looked, the revenues for the courts were up quite a bit, but we do carry a pretty heavy load on that. The good news is we haven't had to buy any new software lately.
That's true.
And labor is kind of baked in now, so I would say we were running right around 70, tracking for 75,000 revenue, and I think the expense side was still going to track a little over 100.
Yeah.
So it's upside down, but not nearly to the degree it was 2 years ago. I think the new chief, as we saw with the volumes that they're pulling through, it's starting to help bring the courts back in line financially where we would expect. But that would be another good one that they can, when they pull that they could look at how the courts. I don't think I've got the courts in here.
No, because this is part of the general fund now. We moved it over to the general fund about 3 or 4 years ago. So the main thing was that the last sheet of the packet, that's what she prepared for us to go to the newspaper, because every year I got to publish the surplus financial in the newspaper. So that's what I was wanting approval on too. So if you guys agree to this must be going into the local newspaper.
I looked at this online, I guess I didn't pick this up.
That's the one that Marjorie introduced, like I said, this is what I got to put in the newspaper. Which will go into the local papers and the Odessa paper. Cheapest.
Well, this would also be something worth putting on our Facebook page, just
Put it on Facebook, yeah.
or our website, whatever we got.
No, I'm looking at that too.
Yeah, so right now, when you look at that, it looks like net revenue in excess is $3,400 unfavorable. That's for the general fund. Water sewers, 41,000 upside down, but that's not breaking out. That doesn't seem right to me, Joe. I guess it is what it is. I don't know how we've got 600 fund balance when there's 40,000 in excess.
When's this gotta be published? When's this have to be published?
By March.
By March?
Yeah, 6 months.
So about a week from now.
Yeah.
That's why I got it. You guys approved, like, put in papers.
And this was produced by our accounting team.
Yeah, this is produced by Marjorie.
Was that on the agenda, or is that part of the semi-annual report?
what's on the agenda.
Okay. So, I take a motion to approve the publication of the semi-annual report.
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Publish away. And elected officials comments.
Just my comment is a question.
Okay.
At our old city hall down on 24 Highway, are people renting that out, or is that being rented
What's that, I'm sorry?
The old city hall.
down by Dollar
No,
General?
somebody bought it, they went in the business out of it.
So they've gone through the legality and the zoning and so forth?
Yeah.
All
Yeah, we made sure they
what
didn't have
kind of
anybody
business are they
living in
running?
there, because before, when people had people living upstairs, and we told them they couldn't have that unless they came from the planning and zoning and asked for a variance, which they never did,
Yeah.
so. As far as I know, nobody's living there, and I've been,
There's like 4 cars there, and no snow.
yeah, I can't tell you, I should check, I can check to see what kind of businesses, I can't remember what kind of business.
It's a transportation company.
Okay.
Really?
They have about 15 vehicles, so I'm not surprised to see a few sitting there not moving, but they're a
These are
transportation
automobiles,
company.
Thought it looked like.
I know in fact, they was told they cannot have, they lived up there unless they had a variance. So
Sure.
They haven't come to us yet.
Sounds good.
Yep. They used to run it out of their house here on Central. Now they've got that building and they run it out of there. They do the special needs transportation,
I see.
schools, alternative schools and things like that.
Good to know. Great.
Because I had the same concern, I saw those cars down there, I think on Sunday morning, and it's like, are they living there again? or-
That was my question.
Yeah, so, just ask and answer.
What we like. And that's the answer we like to hear.
A compliant answer. But just again, thank you to the Public Works team on the snow removal, staying on ahead of things, and the getting that hydrant repaired. I know you looked like one tired puppy by the time you got up to my house. It was a long day, so thank you for the effort on that, and then.
I think it was on my buddy pilot, I'm not sure.
We were 22 hours.
And then, you know, the work on, getting the pricing down on the pump and those things are also appreciated, so thank you. If no one else has anything, we take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm excited.
We stand adjourned.